Welcome to the Anti-Jungling Jungling Club, aka the Dota Club Podcast, aka the sanctuary of North American Dota servers. I'm here with co-host Pyne. Introduce yourself.
Hello, it's me, Pyne. Prime advocate of not jungling, not youngling, may I say.
Yes.
I had a nightmare last night where I was in the hot tub and I got ganked. No, I didn't, but I had a nightmare every game where my carry gets ganked in the fucking hot tub camp in the side jungle. I love
when
the
we
sanctuary
say
of
the
North
hot
America
tub camp
well.
is the camp with all the stairs that go down, so it looks like a hot
And
tub
you're
and
in
there's
the
like
water?
water in it.
That's
It
fucking
usually has like
trash.
some mud golems or some shit.
That shit is fucking terrible.
Yeah, I had a really nice gank. I have to talk about this gank.
Jeez.
I don't want to like jump right
yeah.
into it. I wanted to like do an intro.
No, yeah.
But
Let's do the gank.
Talking about the hot tub reminded me of this. I was playing Hoodwink, which some of my friends have been calling the Hood Stink recently. All right, I'm getting bullied for my Hoodwink, but it's getting better. All right, this game was a dub. I'm like 15-3 in the 6K ranked pub on my Hood Stink MVP.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it, which, by the way,
Yes.
I'm going on like hella tangents right now, but if you want to improve spellcasting on a hero, because that was my problem, was the spellcasting, play some Turbo. Unironically. Because
Jesus.
people will say play Overthrow as well, but I played Overthrow and the talents will like change your spells. So I was Hoodwink 5 and I went to my Beastmaster and it was Hoodwink Beastmaster Silencer ganking a Lifestealer. And he was farming the hot tub camp, but he did the thing, which is a good play by him, where you drag the hot tub camp up to your T2. So you're farming it like at the top of the stairs, really close to your T2, right? And I smoked the boys, Hoodwink Beastmaster Silencer, we went, and we didn't even have vision of him. We're like standing right on the Watcher, if you guys can picture it, near the
Do you
Radiant
see like
T2.
the camp getting hit?
Yeah, I saw the camp getting
Okay.
hit near the tower. I chucked the blind bushwhack into a roar into a global silence. That shit felt good. That shit gave me some dopamine. That was just well executed gank from the
Yeah, that's
boys. Like
beautiful.
I made that
That's
shit happen. Like it was nice.
Yeah, you're carrying the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anticipation every time you throw a bushwhack because it gives vision of whoever is bushwhacked. So like you're like watching that shit fly out, and then it like gets somebody. You're like, oh shit! Like
Yeah.
I got his ass, boys. No, that shit's really hype. I was gonna say this might not be kosher actually.
No, rip it.
But I was gonna say your Hood Stink has been turning into the ideal support, the Hood Twink. Have we talked about this before? But the ideal support in my lobby, whenever I have a support, that's like this is gonna be like a little based, to be honest. But my ideal
this
support,
needs to be said.
yeah, whenever my support is like submissive and like they just smurf the whole lobby. Like we had a game yesterday where we had this CM and he left top for like half a second. Top is safe lane. He left Crabby's lane for half a second, and Crabby gets in the mic like, "Where the fuck you going, bro? Come back top right now, bro." Bro. And he's like, "Sorry, sir, I'm coming top." And then they like kill top like 10 more times.
Yeah,
like,
he just starts sprinting.
Fucking beautiful. And then my fucking camera. And then I'm like, yo, we can kill fucking mid, bro. And he comes mid and we kill him. I'm like, nice job. He's like, you too, man, you too. I'm like, I'm loving that. The worst supports I have are like the fucking abrasive, like, oh, I don't want to say like overly masculine because it's not about that, but like they like have a big ego. I say come mid and they say like, shut up, like you don't know what you're talking about. But like if I say like come mid and they're like, yes sir, I'll be there at the 12-minute rune. Like we win the game every time.
Other support
Jesus.
like behavior that I've noticed that correlates with like being good, like being submissive. If my support calls me Zaddy, they're probably
Jesus
a beast.
Christ,
they're probably really good.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Unironically.
No, you're right.
You're right. The supports that like talk back or the like when they
They're
get
not-
mad
I
at
think
you
they're
like
cores.
misses
They're
CS,
cores.
the submissive
I mean, not all of them.
supports.
No,
or
no,
the ones who talk back.
The one who talk back are cores.
Yeah,
Not all of them.
This is an interesting conversation that might get.
This might be a little too based.
It might. I mean, we'll see. Like, if it's not, if it is, I'll like use my judgment and edit it out. But I think just you're supporting the course. Like, it's a supportive role.
I just think it's a supportive role, and so I mean, like you said, I think, or like we said, it's a lot of core players that are really abrasive when they're playing support, and I understand in the sense that they don't like to be ordered around, which like is
They
maybe
should.
a little, but like you're
Because when I'm giving orders, I'm telling them the right thing. When I got in the mic and I was like, "CM, get the fuck back to my lane," it's because I'm like Ursa, having a good lane, and we can just kill them on cooldown.
Yeah, exactly.
But the difference there as well is I can't kill them without the CM. Like some lanes, if it's like Ursa and I'm having a good lane versus like Axe, like I can just kill the guy
And
like alone.
not
I
to
don't
like
need
get
him.
into the psychology of it, but like I get human nature. A lot of people don't like to be told what to do. And I think as support, you're more prone to being told what to do. Like no one's like, bro, like Gary. Actually, a lot of people talk to the carry, but like no one's like, yo, mid, like fucking hit this camp and like gank this guy. They do, but like I mute them. Shut up. I'm trying not to curse.
People don't talk to me when I play carry.
Yeah, really. Crabby God. I love that comment last video. Not just as an aside, but there's the comment where it's like, I never seen Crabby lose. I love that comment. That's kind of true. Hilarious.
It's kind of true. The reality is your cores are going to carry the game. Like if your cores aren't strong and you're a support, I think the whole notion of like you can like farm the side waves as support and like get really farmed and carry, like you can, but it happens less, or at least like the higher MMR you go, the harder it is to do that because your cores are going to take space. So your cores need to be farmed like to win. And you playing well on support means you're making your cores game easier.
Yeah. I don't think the thing is that there's a bias for us because
we're core players.
Well, not just that, but I think what we communicate is really good. And I think a lot of core players are like, bro, you're griefing, bro. And it's like, that's just like the worst comms ever. And like, you need to be executed. And also when I play support as a core player, so I'm like part of the problem, I guess. But like, I'm not like, yes, Zaddy in the mic, right? I'm like, shut up. Like I'm fucking farming my blink on Bat Rider. Like stop talking to me. But like, I do a lot of, I have a lot of impact on support for sure. But I think the reason why it's good, at least in our lobbies, like this doesn't maybe relate to every single core player. Like, I don't know if viewers are going to like relate this to like their Archon, like Ursa giving them instruction, but I think it's because our calls are really good. And also as a cores, we understand our heroes and what they want to do in the game and their timings, and supports often don't. So they don't understand necessarily how to enable us. And as a support, your job is to enable. Not entirely, like you can have a lot of impact on support with what your hero wants to do and stuff like that, but like it's part of the supportive role, like let's just be honest. So that's why I was just gonna say that's why whenever we have like the submissive supports that listen to what I say, it's like free win. And whenever I have like the support with an ego who like tells me to like shut up because I said like, yo, check the rune, it's like it's just free loss. Like it's just it's fucking over. Like we can't do anything.
That point though of like understanding cores timings, I think that makes better support players. And that's why when I play support, if I'm laning with one of my most played heroes, like if I'm laning with anti-mage or like Ursa or like PL is different, I guess, because he doesn't really like dominate lane. He's a really weak laner, but I always do really well. Because even if that anti-mage doesn't understand his timing, I'll just like, if he hits level 2, I'll just like go stun the enemy support and then he'll like blink in, even if he like wasn't planning to do that. It's just a good play and I know, and he'll like follow up with it. But that conversation about like understanding timings reminded me of this concept I stumbled upon recently. Basically, being good at Dota is a lot about understanding what heroes do, how much damage, and when. It becomes your intuition, and it determines like how far you can go. And to attain that like level of understanding that makes you really good, you just have to play a lot of Dota. So. And
you know what you can do, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because you look at a lane and you're like, I can, like, for example, like if I'm like mid and I understand I have intuition built up, like I look at a lane and I'm like, okay, I can kill this guy, or okay, I can't.
Yeah, right? A really big part of it is understanding your hero, but understanding the other heroes as well. Like this guy can kill me. Like I remember I was coaching a guy and he was 4K MMR and he was playing TA and he was laning against Undying. And it's level 2, and he made this really psycho play where he like walked past the wave and like tried to go on the Undying. But in my head, it's like, okay, I told him this. I said, Undying is literally Thanos right now. He was like level 2 with like 20 stacks of decay. And this guy just like runs up on him and like,
and he just like drops the tombstone and like shits on his whole life.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then my 4K student just ruined his game for no reason. So, but in my head, I knew like that Undying is literally Thanos, but he didn't know, and that caused that mistake.
Yeah. I mean, that comes with experience, which...
it's hard to coach. It's, like, not really something you can... Because it's just, like, raw information where you have to, like, play Dota and build that intuition.
Yeah, it's chill. I think what makes that discouraging, if people find that discouraging, is just, like, they don't like... It's, like... Embarrassing maybe isn't the right word, but, like, people, like, feed to that shit and they're, like, embarrassed. Like, even in Immortal pubs, like, people, like, feed to stuff and they'll be very defensive. And it's chill. Like, making mistakes is chill. Your teammates are gonna, like... say it's not chill. They're dumb, they're bad, so just mute them. That's another topic, but we've talked about muting before, but muting is just
early and often,
dude. I'm gonna
hammer that into all of our subscribers.
That's like your catchphrase, to be honest. But muting just makes Dota like so much more enjoyable. It's absurd.
It does, because people literally
yeah.
like stop playing Dota because of the toxic community, like Grubby. We've talked about that before, so
Poor
I don't
guy,
wanna, like
but yeah.
dive into it. But the solution is just to mute. Like whenever
Yeah.
I mute, I never regret muting somebody. Literally not once.
I also understand, like for example, the Grubby Pov, where he had because he was having a coaching session with Ari, the OG
Oh,
player.
that video is so good. I might just link that in the description. Like, if you're learning support, that's also about Hoodwink. Funnily enough.
Yeah.
Ari, the OG pro, is coaching Grubby. Is just goated. Sorry,
You should watch Grubby's content. No, that's chill. Grubby's content is so good in general. I actually enjoy his Warcraft content. That's an aside. But his Dota content's so good if you're trying to learn the game. Like, people also get in the comments. I need to make sure I don't forget like what I was gonna say. But people get in the comments on Grubby's videos and like, if I was coached by all the pros in the universe, I'd hit a more. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Fucking sorry, but like, dude, I hate that. Like, it's just some fucking cope, man. It's right there on the video, man.
Yeah.
You're there too. Like, you're coached. You're fucking coached. Like, learn some Hoodwink. But I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say. Fuck.
While you remember it, I think the more and more, the better and better I get at Dota, the more I realize I think it's a simple game, but it's really easy to get like lost in the sauce. Like, I don't want to say lost in the sauce, lost in the noise. It's a simple game, but you get distracted by the noise. So like, I'm like learning support, and I realized that a really big part of being a really good like high MMR support is literally just buying more sentries than the enemy and not giving up or being lazy. Like, literally just buy like 6. If they keep buying sentries, just keep buying sentries, because I know, I'm not kidding.
That guy's poor too. That guy's also
exactly.
Poor.
And the camps are OP. And that's like, okay, the lane's not all about the camps, but like, that's just, if you just do that, and if you get stack pulls off in all of your games as support, and like you're denying your entire way from the enemy, you're just gonna gain so much MMR. A little interesting tidbit about this. One of my coaching students, I'm not gonna like name names, but he got coaching from other. It sounds like I'm just like shilling my coaching. I'm not trying to do that, but he got coaching.
It's also not. Sorry, it's not like flame to the other coaching as well, because different things work for different people.
Yeah.
It just is an anecdote.
He got coaching from a very high MMR, well-known Dota personality that is much more boutique than, or the price is just a lot more than the coaching that I offer, and he was like still stuck. And after one session with me, obviously, I mean, I'm a lot lower MMR than this really high
boutique
MMR
coaching.
player that I'm talking about, but I like simplify things, and this specific high MMR player, like, I don't want to say he overcomplicates it, because I don't think so. I think at like the 10, 11K level,
I feel like it's chilled a name.
Complicated.
I feel like it's chilled a name.
Okay, it's BSJ. It's BSJ.
Yeah, I hate BSJ. No. It's also different because I love BSJ's coaching.
Yeah, no, his content is really good. I like his content.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So it's not a slight on his coaching.
But I'll watch a BSJ coaching session. It'll be like this Archon anti-mage. It'll be like level 1. He'll like hit a creep, and then he'll pause the video. He'll raise his standing desk, and he'll like think for like 10 minutes, and he'll be like, "What is anti-mage's identity in this lane?" Whereas I'll coach the Archon guy, and I'll be like, "Bro, you need to hit the fucking creeps, bro. Like, if your support's not pulling, go fucking pull yourself, bitch. Buy your own sentry." And then he'll like gain 2,000 MMR. Because the reality is the Archon guy doesn't need to think about anti-mage's identity. The Archon guy needs to hear that anti-mage should be really aggressive levels 1 and 2, and needs. And like,
I mean, that's like kind of the identity, right? But like, I understand his approach, because also he's like making them think intuitively for themselves. And it's also like short-term versus long-term MMR. I love the BSJ coaching. When I watch that shit, I'm sitting there thinking about anti-mage's identity. But the anecdote speaks for itself, where your student didn't climb with like that coaching, and then he climbed with
I don't know if I mentioned that, but he had one session with me, and then he broke a barrier that he'd been stuck at for a really long time.
Exactly.
He's like still climbing.
Yeah, and it's not a slight on BSJ coaching. I love his content, and it's great. I mean, I would like, dude, I don't know. When I was in college, I would literally like be sitting I would fucking listen to that shit like every time I was walking to class and stuff. That's like my fucking Bible. I'm thinking about Dota, which helps you improve a lot, to be honest, thinking about Dota. Maybe some people don't have like enough time to like dedicate to thinking about Dota like that. But I would think about Dota a lot. But that's what that content's good for. I think BSJ's content is like thinking about Dota in general. But like, if your student wants to climb right now and he's like spamming TA, Like what he needs here is like playing the fucking traps, bro.
Yeah,
like
spam your fucking traps, sit in your safe lane with a trap. Another quick example about BSJ coaching that is really common that I want to say, that I think will hammer in the point better is like a lot of the time with his like Archon or like Legend students, he'll talk about like it'll be like as an example TA, and he'll talk about like the order of items that TA goes. Like on TA, you want to end up with like Blink, Dragonlance, and Deso at some point in the first like 17 minutes. And my opinion is that in Archon, that shit just doesn't matter. Like, does it make a difference? Yes. Items. But there's much lower hanging fruit that the Archon student like should improve on first before they dive into these like really complex like ideas.
This all started from like some Grubby shit, didn't it? And I was gonna like say something about
I had
Grubby.
Something else that I wanted to say.
I remember.
Oh yeah.
It was about muting, which was muting.
Grubby just can't mute these people.
Well, okay, because one of Grubby's reasons for quitting, which I'm not disparaging him for quitting, because it's chill, it's his career. So if he enjoys other games, it's chill. But one of his reasons for quitting was that he didn't want to mute. Ari told him mute everyone every single game, which is like also very based. He was literally like like when you're in the lobby, just like mute everybody in the game. Or like
I actually agree with that. I mean,
that's like heat, to be honest. But he was like, I don't want to do that because a big reason I play Dota is for the teamwork and the communal aspect. But you get that. Like honestly more I hate to say
I agree.
When you mute everybody, you can synergize with your teammates so well. You were talking about like your hoodwink smoke.
No, I'm pretty sure, sorry, before you go, during that smoke, I had both of those guys muted. Like when I'm making the smoke, I'm like still talking into the mic and communicating with them. And even though nobody's talking, it still felt amazing, and it felt like we worked together and we like synergized our spells. But it doesn't matter that I don't have them muted. Or that I do have them muted.
And to be honest, having them unmuted usually ruins the experience more because you're like, oh, let's smoke, and they're like, shut the fuck up, hoodwink. Like I don't want to smoke. But like, let me tell you, if you press smoke, like they're just walking behind you. Like
I press smoke and I ping my wards and I fucking get a scan on the lifestealer. Like they're coming.
Exactly.
They're coming.
And I don't have to. Yeah, and I don't have to think about like this guy like freaking on me in the mic because he doesn't want to smoke or something. And like if they don't come, it's all good. But
that's the biggest reason for muting people is when they freak on you, you're like gonna think about it and it takes you away from the game. Like no matter what, no matter how stoic you are, you could be fucking Marcus Aurelius on the fucking Tinker. I don't know why I said on the Tinker. But, he would not play Tinker. He'd play like Anti-Mage or some shit. And you would still get distracted. But
no, I agree exactly because also I don't know why, but in my opinion, it feels better when you. This is just my opinion. It feels better when you randomly synergize with your mic muted, and it doesn't discourage you from synergizing. Because if I like make a call and then some guy tells me to like shut the fuck up and like go sky and like I hope your family dies, it's like I don't want to like make a call ever again. To be honest, I want to like I'm gonna hit the hot tub camp and like jungle for 30 minutes actually because I'm like, depressed.
Stop playing basically.
Exactly. But like if I make a call and no one comes, I'm like, all right, like we go again in like 2 minutes. Like if I see another call, like I'm still talking. And we've had interesting experience. You and me are both very, I mean, me more than you, but you definitely are also a super vocal player in Dota in general, because a lot of people just don't talk at all. And people don't like, I think a lot of people are aggressive and, you know, view negatively people who talk a lot in Dota.
It's really easy to be the target. Or it's like easy for people to place the blame on you because you're like the team leader, right? You're like making the calls.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna like randomly be like, it's your fault, Pugna, and the Pugna like hasn't said a single word the whole game. It's like, okay, this Ursa's been like yapping in mic, like shut the fuck up, Ursa, you ruined.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's why muting is nice. It's because I will just yap into the mic and I don't have to hear like, dude, shut up already. Like I don't need to hear that, man. And like, that guy is just like weird.
If you're distracting them, like they will mute you, and I feel like you won't like be offended. Like if they legitimately will play worse because you're in their ear, or like if I'm in your ear and you're like play worse, just mute me. Like it's not personal.
Yeah, that's chill.
Part of me talking
you
into the
mute
mic,
me. You literally mute me.
Sometimes,
if I'm, like,
okay. I only do that if you're like being really bad.
I'm like tilted,
or if you like be passive aggressive towards me.
That goes to show. That goes to show.
Yeah.
Because I'll be saying some shit that like might be relevant, but like it's making you play worse, and I don't take it personally that you mute me. It's like it's chill. Yeah, like, it's all good.
I feel like it'd be funny to talk about it. You were getting destroyed mid. We were against like the Empyrean stacking a Norm. It's like some semi-pro in NA, and we're like 5 stack. It's a really hard game. You're playing.
And my stack is not the most powerful.
Yeah, our stack was not like stacked like that. So it's a really hard game. You're getting like camped mid. There's like some Earth Spirit shit like camping you. Maybe it wasn't Earth Spirit, but I remember I'm Ursa and I'm having a pretty good game. And I went to hit a wave, and you were like behind me. And you're like, dude, this is the only wave I can hit. Like, you could farm all of this. And then you scribbled on your map, like, the entire jungle.
Yeah, because you had, like, Battle Fury.
And I was like, I'm just not going to have
no,
this.
and then the next wave came. I was like, really? And then the next wave came, and I, like, meteor, like, fucking deafening blasted
Jesus
it.
Christ.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
It was,
So
like, really despair from my palm.
I mean, it's a hard game. Yeah. But also, another part, like, sometimes when I'm vocal, it's, like, to stay disciplined myself. Like, an example of this is an Ursa game I had recently, when there was an Axe on the enemy team, and I know that Axe is like the best jump, and I basically can't enter the fight if Axe doesn't show. I can kind of outplay it with Enrage. Like, I can blink in and click Enrage and like kill somebody and walk away. No, it kind of is. But,
okay, yeah. If you pre-Enrage, but I'm saying react to Axe call.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to react. Dude, this side note, but this Axe freaked on me so hard. He goes Blade Mail, Blink, Yule's first 3 items. Okay, dude.
Jesus.
Dude. But anyway, so I know I can't enter the fight because those items like tell me in a rank game that he's going to be on my nuts the whole game, right? Just the fact that he builds Yule's 3rd item like gives me a window into his mind. Like he's just going to freak on the Ursa, which is fair. Like that's a good strat. Like,
no, respect. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, respect.
You got your ass.
But anyway, so I'm in the mic and I'm like telling my team like I can't jump, like I need to see Axe, like Axe needs to go first. And I'm in the mic like saying that during the team fight. So people can interpret that like as annoying or whatever, but like my point is I'm saying that for myself because if I don't like talking helps me be disciplined, like saying it out loud. Because sometimes like I'll know that and I'll just jump anyway and I'll just ruin the game.
Yeah, and I also think that the reason why you jump anyway, which is why talking a lot, at least for me, is for myself, is that your teammates don't understand this. They're not thinking about Ursa and like your way to fight and like your fight conditions. And so the reason why I would jump is because my teammates are all fighting and I'm like, I gotta get in there and help. But like if I'm like spamming the mic with like I can't fight till Axe shows, then like there isn't that like post-fight like discussion where they're like on my nuts about not jumping because it's like, dude, I was like waffling on the fucking mic about how I ain't going. So like I don't feel that artificial pressure that I'd be putting on myself that maybe exists or maybe doesn't, but like I don't feel that pressure to like jump because my teammates are gonna be mad because like I'm fucking saying I can't jump, man. So it also refines my own gameplay. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then another side note, me saying I'm not gonna jump until Axe goes in, like in theory, okay, the game theory of it, the Axe also doesn't jump, I don't jump, and I'm like the highest net worth on my team, I'm carrying the game, so like I lose. But this like 6.5k Axe, he's gonna jump, and I wait like 5 seconds and he jumps my fucking bounty hunter, okay? And he just ruined the game. So like all I have to do is wait, and it's just great.
No, there was actually a really good BSJ coaching session about this where it was like PA versus Axe, and it's like you just don't go until Axe shows. No matter, you just can't. You cannot go. He will just full to zero you and fucking blast you, and that's like free fight loss. And it's like if he never shows, you never show. That's just life. He was talking about how he was playing against like Watson, I think, and he was like some fucking hero. I don't know, like Ursa or Morphling or some shit. And one of them was Void. And it was a similar wait off where like they had to wait or the Void was going to chrono the guy and kill him full to zero. And in the first couple fights, BSJ would jump early and he would die. And then he's like, I got to wait. And then he would wait for like a minute, literally a minute of the fight. And Watson wouldn't show. And then he would jump and get chronoed like immediately. And then he's like, oh, I really got to wait. And then what he said was like, no matter how long he waited, the other like Watson always outweighted him no matter what. Mm-hmm. Like he just didn't go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
Watson's like rank 1. All right, so we got some comments on the last video. We have this like kind of thing going where somebody will comment a hero or a concept and we'll like chat about it. So if you want us to talk about anything, it could be like mental aspect of Dota, could be a hero, could be whatever. Leave a comment.
A lot of love on the last episode as well. A lot of love.
Yeah, we got a lot. And comments also like make us feel good. And even if it's not on YouTube, like in Dota, you know, if you're on our friends list, one of our friends list, like shoot one of us a message like in game, you're like, hey, like I like your podcast, like it means a lot and it gives us energy.
Dude, wait, as a quick aside, there was this fucker commented too, little rat bastard, I'm gonna call you out, but I had a pub where the other guy on the other team, I'll shout him out, it was
Fat Sloth, right?
Fat Sloth, yes, he commented, I mean he like stomped the whole game on Morphling. I had like a fucking literally like a Crusader like carry Dusa anyways. But like, what the fuck, Valve? Anyways, so Fat Sloth, my dog, just stomps the whole lobby. And at the end of the game, he's like, dude, like, I love your content, like, or I love your podcast. Like, I listen to it on my morning runs, like, or some shit, which is like insanely based. Like, you're the GOAT. And then this fucking Monkey King in the game, in this like I have a Crusader carry, like gets in and says like, yo, this like I hope he plays better Invoker mid. Or, fuck you, man.
He was like, I hope he podcasts better than he plays Invoker.
Fucking dickhead, man. Yeah. But I appreciate the love. No, it was also just so cool. Like fucking we're talking about it in the pub. Like that was awesome.
Shout out Cap Casts. I don't know who that guy is, but he got in our comment section.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
He got in our comments. He got in our comment section and he told us to put it on Spotify. He has a lot of podcasts.
That's a cool comment as well, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's really cool, actually, to be honest. And it's like I assume the other thing that's really cool about this is that I assume these people are finding the podcast naturally, right? Because it's not like where the fuck are they gonna like hear about it? So the YouTube algorithm is doing great work, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, no, YouTube is a great platform.
There was one I wanted to talk about that I found. It ends up being pretty funny because I believe. Oh yeah, it was talk about Brood and how ass that hero is. And now I don't remember if they buffed
on you.
Brood.
Wait, who was that?
Yeah.
We gotta shout him out.
It was.
We gotta shout him out. Oh, it was
Primark.
I know.
Bargain.
I know Primark.
He's
been on my videos. Yeah, he's commented on a lot of my videos. That's funny. Brood is like one of the best carries right now.
It's not in flame, right? But it's just I find that interesting because it just goes to show like how quickly Dota changes, and also like sometimes your ideas are like sometimes you just have like definitive ideas and it's just like not correct, and sometimes you have definitive ideas before people know. And now Brood's just like OP as fuck.
Wait, was Brood buffed since that comment? I actually don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest.
It would be 7.36C that came out in between that comment and this episode if you want to check.
Maybe it's so much easier to do it in like the client because you can go to, like the Brood changes. I'll check though. Brood. No, it wasn't changed in C.
Yeah, so it was just good.
It was actually just good. People started doing like more right-click stuff, and
it's good carry. It's good carry as well. If you guys don't.
Okay,
know.
they buffed necrotic webs.
In C.
In B, and that's what people started doing. Speed made a video on this too, where they put the fucking web. You have two webs in your lane, and then you put a web mid lane, and it reduces all your regen efficiency, including tangos and bottle. So it's like straight nightmare.
Okay, that's not balanced. What?
Yeah, it's 30% less. I didn't even know that was.
That makes me mad, bro.
Yeah,
that actually makes me mad.
So you're mid, and there's just a fucking Brood web under your tower, and you're bottling for 30% less.
What the fuck? That's
it's
cancer.
It's just fucked. It's fucked.
Change that now, please.
No, she wins through sustain because there's that, and then her innate is like when you kill a creep, you heal for 2% of your max HP or some shit, including denies. So you just like heal, and then
her lane is really strong, and she has this nasty like Orchid / Bloodthorn timing.
Yeah.
And she like dominates the map.
Brood's a cool
hero. You. That's what she does. Honest. She doesn't scale the best, but I think she scales like well.
Universal
it's
right
not
clicker.
Amazing. Yeah, these universal heroes like Wind Ranger too.
She just doesn't have any spells that do anything. So it's weird. The nuance of Brood is like the strength of Brood is that she's really hard to catch, and she's like really fast and walking over walls and shit like that. Farms really fast. So Brood's really bad against catch. Like something that I hear that I really like against Brood is like Spirit Breaker, right?
Yeah,
like that's like one of the best.
Because you get vision when she's like in the webs,
running over trees and shit like that, and then you just like fucking blast her.
I think Gleipnir is also a good item against Brood.
Gleipnir, so I like Ember as well against Brood. Obviously, you clear the spiders, but Gleipnir like completely owns Brood. But yeah, so Brood's actually just in. I hate playing against Brood. There's also this shit where, not to like go on the Brood tangent, but they changed Silk and Bola, which was like the active, which used to be really good because you would put it on people and then your spiders would own them. It makes all your spiders do more damage. It's like a Bloodthorn. But they changed that to you have to right click the enemy. But so now your right clicks just blind people for like some absurd percentage. So your lane is just disturbing. Your lane is just so disturbing.
Yeah.
Because they can't right click trade with you. They're blinded. They can't tango. The mid laner can't bottle. We lost. We just fucking lost.
Yeah, like, we're kind of in an era. I feel like in modern day Dota, the people have always known that the lane matters, but now like lanes matter more than ever, in my opinion. So if you have a really strong lane,
really good at laning these days.
The necrotic web stuff also reminds me of like a concept, like a theme that I'm observing in Dota, where things that help your team in general are like they help the hero have like higher win rates. And you would think this is true because you'd think like in pubs like you need to 1v9, but things that they just make and there are other examples of this I'll talk about, but they just make the game easier to play for your team. Like if you're mid and you have a Brood, the other mid just has like 30% less like effectiveness on his bottle, and it makes a difference. He's gonna have a better game like 60% of the time. Like, yeah, the other 40% of the time you're gonna get some dog mid who like doesn't do anything, and that's fine. But it helps. Another example of that is like Wind Ranger. She has a really high win rate right now. She's the best carry. And I think it's her innate or her facet, I don't remember. But her win run just gives her team 15%. The facet, 15% more move speed. Which, again, it doesn't seem like it makes a big difference. But I think, it is one of the reasons why Wind Ranger has a really high win rate right now. Like, move speed is really good in Dota.
It's actually better in pubs, I think, than in pro, because if you think of in that
Wind
facet
Ranger
in particular,
or helping your team.
No. That facet in
Tailwind.
particular, because Tailwind, exactly. Because your team, like a lot of the times when you're win running, you're like running up to stun some guy or like start a play, and your teammates are usually massively out of position and late to the play anyways, and you speed them to the play.
It's literally a mini stampede.
Yeah, like it's dope.
Bruh.
Like
with like a 3.5 second downtime if you have like the cooldown talent.
It's
also another example of this, like helping your team and for a hero being good. This relates to Banana Schlong's comment. I don't know if he's Banana Schlong on YouTube, but we know him as Banana Schlong in
It's
Dota.
Rennick Johnson on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Rennick Johnson on YouTube.
The GOAT.
He mentioned Night Stalker. Night Stalker ulti. We'll talk about. He specifically wanted us to talk about like the facet.
I hate Night Stalker,
but
man.
Night Stalker is a really good pub hero because his ult is just like a perma ward in the fight, and it helps your team.
Better than that. I mean, it's fucking disturbing.
Okay, it's better. But my point is, it makes it easier to play for your team. It just makes the fight like easier, and that's why he has a high win rate.
And people underestimate that for sure. Where, like, for example, with the Night Stalker one in particular, I always talk about this where Night Stalker just like makes the game so much easier to play for your team, and people underestimate that. Like, oh, like it's not like numbers, it's not damage. So it's like, who cares that like I'm giving like this gigantic AOE vision to my whole team?
Just makes it easier.
But in general, like if you're thinking for Mirpov, casting your spells when you see everything is so much easier. Let's say I'm like, this is an extreme example, but if I'm Magnus, how much easier is my fight to play in the nighttime when I have like basically like flying global vision versus like it's the fucking darkest shit I've ever seen and like my supports suck at warding. If you think of that, Night Stalker is also good in pubs because your supports may suck at warding, so you're not going to have vision in the fights anyways.
Yeah.
So now you just see everything and you can like make good decisions. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's literally a buff to your decision making and all of your teammates' decision making. Sure, they're still gonna make bad decisions, but like it's not insignificant to buff all 5 of your teammate or like you and your 4 teammates' decision making.
It just makes your win rate's gonna be higher because your team on average is just gonna play better. So Rennick specifically, he said, "How do y'all think Night Stalker day-night cycle facet changes the progression of the game, and do you think it's better for Dire or Radiant?" Okay,
the Dire Radiant's
better
crazy.
Dire. Yeah, we're gonna have to fucking get deep in the analysis.
I have no fucking clue.
But I remember we talked about this in the past, and we said that if the facet is better, like taking it because you just get more nights, right? Because you start night, and so before 20 minutes, you're just gonna get one more night. So and the early game in Dota matters more generally because everything like snowballs and ramps up. Yeah. So it's good. Also, when I lane against it as a carry, it's definitely better when he's at night level 1, in my opinion.
The facet copers, because the facet's weird because it's not like, wow, the daytime doesn't exist, and you're just so strong because I was like, oh, you just get 6 and like it's just ownage in the day because like you can just ult anyways. But I do notice that the Night Stalkers always like fall off disturbingly hard in the 5 to 10 and just like get fucking owned in their lane. All the facet copers are like, he's never weak because you lane from...
You have the ult.
Yeah, you lane from 0 to 5 minutes and then you have ult. But like, let me tell you, first off, like my Night Stalker's like level fucking like 4 at like 5 minutes, and then the guy just gets like complete, like my Night Stalker dies like 4 times like in like the 5 to 10 minute like day. But it's still good. Just to clarify the more night point, because some people might be like, oh, it's the same, right? It's like 50-50 split. But at 15 minutes, you've had 2 nights in 1 day, right? So it's either one more night or even. So you're getting more nights. And then...
More nights in the early game.
Yeah, exactly.
In your Dota matches, you're going to have more nights on average.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really good. I don't even know.
I mean, I like that framework. Good. Okay, is it better for Dire or Radiant?
I think
that is hard,
really
but let's... Yeah, but... I kind of want to
try
to analyze
is better
it
in general.
Fun. Let's think about Roche. Okay, so Roche matters. So you want it to be nighttime when your team's taking Roche. Okay,
Okay, but that
right?
depends on
Are
your
you with
team,
me here?
right? Like,
Yeah, no,
like
that's
if you have
true. Depends on
Ursa,
your
you're
team.
gonna take it
Ursa's taking
earlier.
Okay, so I guess you can't really.
I
But
think it's
I
just,
feel like in
it's
general, there's
better in
gonna
the
be like an
day. Or
average
sorry,
first
it's better
time.
on Radiant. I'll say that. But that's because Radiant's better in general. If you go on Pro Tracker and look at the win rates between sides, Radiant's like consistently like 7% higher. It's like absurd.
That's crazy.
So Radiant's like broken
Valve should
randomly.
do something about that.
Yeah, like Radiant's broken.
Yeah.
Earth Spirit's good if you play mid, I think. I don't think 4 is good. Mid's pretty good if you're a specialist. I don't like 4 that much. The lane is fucking terrible.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird. The catch is like all right.
The lane is
It's not
stinky.
great.
It's great on mid. I love playing Earth Spirit with a bunch of levels, but
Yeah,
like if you're
like
Earth Spirit
Vessel and the
4,
ult is pretty.
yeah,
deadly.
exactly. You're so tanky. But if you're Earth Spirit 4, you can just like feed. Honestly.
Yeah. So at Phaty, some more of his topics. Maybe we just pick one because there are a lot, and each of these could be like 10 minutes. Last pick drafting to counter versus drafting for team synergy. Fundamentals of when to connect to mid-game team fights versus pressuring lanes. Dude, I could literally write a book about all of these. Pros, cons, if any, of when to play unranked. Maybe not mentally focused enough to climb, but still want to play.
For the first one, just really quick, to counter versus drafting for team synergy, I wouldn't focus only on team synergy. I think the most important thing for sure is your core-to-core matchups and your hero having a good game, which includes team synergy.
Especially
but I wouldn't
climb. Sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick something that is not or doesn't have a good game because it synergizes with your team. Countering is definitely not necessarily countering. It's not about shutting down the enemy. It's that your hero has good matchups in the game in general. Like, for example, as Darkseer, like, I really like having really good illusions on the enemy team because it makes it so much easier to play. It's like, all I have to do in the fight is, like, make an illusion to that guy and punch that guy, and then, like, my illusions are going to just fucking own. Whereas, like, wow, I have, like, the greatest synergy. I have 5 melees as Darkseer. Like, that shit is, like,
yeah. I think the most important thing is comfort on the hero in the pub. I think that matters more than both of those, to be honest, if you're, like, trying to climb. And I made this point multiple times. I'm going to try to say it concisely. But if you're, like, very comfortable on a hero's mechanics, if you know it like the back of your hand, there's, like, mental space for you in the Dota game to think about other things that are important, like macro Dota, like pushing lanes, like who to gank, like when to roast, things like that. But
people are just gonna wonder, like, where the fuck did this guy's, like, neck scarf come from? Because, like,
okay, I'll say it. The elephant in the room. This is to keep me cool because it's a pretty hot day where I am and the sun is shining, like, right in my window. So this is, like, I put water on it and I, like, wring it out and then I shake it and it cools.
Is it just a towel or is it, like, a specific thing?
No, it's a specific thing. It's a cooling scarf thing. So it cools you. Yeah.
But I actually like the second question. Like you said, you can write, like, a fucking book about this question. It's so difficult. When to connect to mid-game teamfights versus pressuring lanes.
It depends so much. Like, I think a lot of Dota, I'm realizing, like, it's really hard to make, like, generalization, like, blanket statements, and, like, you could use your judgment. Like, if your team, if there's a team fight, like, far away from your base, like, let's say you're Dire and there's a team fight in the Dire top jungle and you're pressuring the bottom lane and you're like, you can take a Rax. Like, okay, I'd probably tell you to, like, pressure the Rax. Like, you kind of requires judgment. Like, you should pressure that lane. Instead, it's also generally good to tell your team to wait until somebody TP's back. So you pressure a lane, an enemy TP's back, and then you TP, and then you fight them 4v5. That's, like, a great, reliable strategy that I think works in every pub. Doesn't matter the heroes.
That's what I was going to say, because the specific examples are difficult. But there's also, I have a whole nother, like, way to delve into this that actually something I wanted to discuss. But when it comes to this, I also, like, the wording is, like, connect to mid-game team fights, so you shouldn't feel pressured to, like, connect to, like, shit your team's doing necessarily. What I think is, in general, okay, so if you're ahead, you want to fight more. If you're behind, you want to split up more. That's, like, you know, the first generalization. But that doesn't mean, like, when you're behind, you don't fight at all. That also doesn't mean when you're ahead, you group 5 men and stand there for 30 minutes. I think pressuring lanes first is pretty much always better. Because you can reliably, at least what Crabby just said, basically, which is, like, you can reliably force people to rotate in TP. If you shove lanes into tier 2 towers, maybe they won't TP at first because they're sitting mid 5 grouped like animals. But if you crash enough waves on that tower or shove enough waves, someone will TP back and you just get a 5v4 and you just, like, it's free. Like, it's easy. Even if you're ahead, like, you can do that.
I can see real quick. I can see people coping in that comment and saying like, "Oh, but my team will just like start shit like before I pressure the lane."
Though.
No, it's life, but also it's because you're slow pressuring the lanes. Like I guarantee, if you're fast and if you're playing Dota with this like aggressive mentality to like push waves really quick, you'll have time to like push the wave and connect to the fight.
Yeah, and you can like TP. And also like another thing I say often is that I'm communicating. I say I'm shoving a wave, and I say, when someone TPs here, I'll TP and we can go fight or something like that. Or like I'm not coming till somebody TPs here, or like I'm pushing this lane. And you may think like cope, like my teammates don't care. But it's like if you're in a bracket where that like if you're like Crusader, your teammates don't care. It's like it's chill because you're just gonna push side lanes and like get so farmed and carry. So it's like it's not a big deal. You need to stop freaking out about your teammates feeding.
Wait, this is a really good time to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you and I casted a Legend pub. Our friend was playing it a couple days ago. I might put it on. I might upload it to YouTube. It was pretty funny. But this was Legend, so which is like people consider it pretty high MMR, and it's higher than average. I swear nobody farmed a side lane for like 10
minutes straight. It was like
just ARAM all mid for like 10 minutes, just running at each other. This like
it was literally like 10 team fights in a row.
Mid again.
Yeah.
And if anybody in that game decided to like farm the side lane once they just 1v9, the game is just over.
Exactly. And actually the person we were watching on Darkseer was probably shoving the most waves in the game. And he cooked. Like he had like really impactful like aura items on Darkseer, and like he farmed. And then they like TP back and he fought. And it's like they like you may think like, oh, but my team's gonna be so mad and there's gonna be like a game losing team fight. Dude, there was like 17 team fights mid over nothing. None of those mattered. The team fights didn't matter at all. It was literally like the most useless shit
over
ever.
No objective. Like
over no objectives, no one's taking anything.
One team would win, they'd hit like a full HP T2 tower for like 15 seconds, and then the other team would respawn and like run at them. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then there'd just be another fight. Like no one's doing anything.
Yeah.
So like that shit doesn't matter at all. You don't need to feel pressure to like connect to your team's shit plays. But yeah, so shoving lanes, we talked about this, and I'm not going to reiterate the whole point because we really went into this. We talked about the idea of turns on a previous podcast, and that's basically what this question's about. Is if you push lanes and then make a move, it amplifies the impact of your move because it's your turn, so you're closer to buildings, your creep waves are further on the map. Whereas if you like connect to shit, but you didn't shove the waves, it doesn't even matter if you win, and if you lose, you're getting fucked.
I think unranked is good. Like generally, if you're playing with, if you're partying with better players, it's better because you're gonna learn from them, and ideally, you have like a relationship like me and Pyne have where we like learn with each other and we like talk about the game a lot. I think as long as you're improving, it's fine. I don't think the game quality is like inherently so much worse where you can't improve. I do think ranked in a vacuum is like a better
it's pretty much always better
representation of your skill. I think it's better for improving, but I don't think unranked is bad. Unranked is not the enemy, and you can play it. Like if I'm coaching you and I watch your unranked game, I'm going to I'm going to see like all your issues just as much as I.
It's a serious game.
If you had to pick one, you should pick ranked because
for sure. I mean, I think ranked's better. Whether it be subconsciously because like you're giving value on the game, so you take it more seriously subconsciously, or your teammates are all trying harder because it's ranked. I think it's more, and it's also more balanced games. Unranked games tend to be pretty balanced in general.
Because we party.
But I think in general, there's not a lot of reason to prefer unranked over ranked. But if you don't want to play ranked and you want to play some Dota, play unranked, right? But I think ranked is higher game quality, and you take it more seriously subconsciously. So I think it's better. Anyways, I really want to talk about this. This relates to connecting to fights, but I've actually had a big issue with. I don't even know how to approach this, so let me just start out by saying this. I've had a big issue with jonglers in my game.
Yeah.
I've had a big issue with jonglers.
Holy
just
shit.
fucking
Everyone just loves the jongle. Go hit the fucking ancients.
From level 3 to level 20, dude. Stop fucking jongling. But it's not that simple, right? Because you farm neutrals, you need some efficiency. Let's say that. I hit my fair share of neutral creeps on carry, on mid, on support.
What camps you hit matter.
Yes, exactly. That's what people don't realize. Because if I just say, yo, quit fucking jongling, like people like take offense to that first off, and second off, like it's too general and they don't understand. They just think like jungling bad or like neutral's bad. But the important part about it is the location of your hero on the map. And just this is like a general concept, but if you're, let's say you want to be aggressive, let's say you're Void with Chrono up. I don't need to be in the fucking smoke of deceit, like running into their like, you know, like tier 2, like finding the carry, because like that's
you actually
fucking
don't
inefficient.
really want to be doing that.
I don't want to do that at all. Actually,
pre like
That's
40
shit.
minutes. No, if it's like hyper late game and your team's like grouping is
Yeah,
5,
yeah, I'm down.
But if
I'm
it's like
thinking,
mid
level
game and you're
6.
like still farming, yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to do that shit. Or like I have a Maelstrom and I'm like I'm in the Yongle, like Yonglin. I don't want to do that shit. But if I'm hitting the fucking side jungle on Radiant, hard camp behind the tier 2, there is 0% chance I ever use Chrono ever there.
Unless you TP.
I'm never. Yeah, I could TP in Chrono somebody. But like,
if
let's
your
say
team is being aggressive.
But let's say I'm farming a wave. Let's say I'm farming some aggressive space and the enemy team ganks me. Maybe my team TPs and I Chrono. But just to take this to a more general point, if you can contribute, if you want to contribute, you should place yourself, but like you're not the person initiating the play. You're not the smoke. You're not the guy starting the play, but you can participate. You're a guy with a strong spell like Chrono or something. Then you should place yourself in areas and farm areas where your teammates want to play, or your teammates are going to look to be aggressive. And so like also this is so like if you're a carry and you want to participate, farm forwards during the minute. But if you're a carry
Forwards
and you want
towards the enemy team.
Exactly, towards the enemy's
is.
map. But if you're a carry and you want to avoid the enemy and you're weaker, farm backwards away from the enemy's map and you'll avoid them. But some people just like fucking sit and hit like one hard camp in like the worst space ever, and they like have a powerful spell. And it's like, I'm not saying you have to like fucking smoke and like come to the mid rune as carry, but like how about you go to your lane and sit there and like they go on you and like I TP and like we fight. But people just like jungle. Go ahead.
I remember Quinn said this on stream and I'll like never forget it. He said literally for anyone below like 6k MMR, this was like genuine advice. He said, don't hit any jungle creeps. And if you do that, you'll just improve so much as a player.
I also like what he said, which
don't hit any. He
said that that's also not correct, but it's closer to being correct than only hitting jungle creeps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like fucking dope. Like, well done, Quinn, on that wording.
Yeah. Or maybe
you hit jungle creeps.
Yeah.
But like that's not what Dota's about.
Didn't he say it was closer to being correct than like what people do? Because obviously it's closer to being correct than like hitting.
Yeah, but it's closer to being correct than what people do. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that idea just comes from the fact, just to talk about like the first principle fundamentals. Like we talked about which camps you hit being important. So let's say you take one of the enemy's jungle camps. It means they're not getting that jungle camp. So instead of just gaining like the 100 gold from that jungle camp, it's actually a net 200 difference because you're denying 100 gold from the enemy and you're giving yourself 100 gold. But waves are better than jungle camps as well for efficiency and pressure. Always.
Yeah.
Period.
And there's so much more impact. People don't understand all the impact. So with the jungle camp example, not only are you denying them gold and getting gold, but also you're in close proximity to like if you're farming their jungle camp, you're likely in close proximity to areas of the map that your teammates are going to play or enemies are going to show up. So you can also readily participate in the game. Whereas if you're just farming like the safest camp in the fucking universe, like it's just 100 gold and there's no chance you participate and you're not denying anything. And also like those usually are like not close to like waves. So you can't even like react and shove waves if they show elsewhere. That's another thing, as a quick mid peeve, but I think it's super relevant. And you've been really good about this, is that you're very resilient and hard to kick out of your lane. As a carry, and I understand carries a lot of the times. I think offlane's really strong this patch in general. There's like Darkseers and shit, and like the carry meta. BSJ was just talking about this on the panel, but like the carry meta is like really tanky, like Chaos Knights with sustain that like survive and are hard to kick out. Because like the offlane pool is so strong. So I get your lane's fucking hard, but too often is my carries lane hard and I just start to get powerful enough to like help out. Like I'm Ember Spirit mid and I get the 6-minute rune and I look bottom and my level 3 PA is hitting the fucking hot tub camp. I can't come bottom now, dude, and help you because you're just like in piss nowhere. Like stay in your fucking, I'm not saying go there and feed, but like you're just not in a location where you can participate or do anything. And it's like frustrating as a mid because now this guy just like abandoned his lane at the first sight of any difficulty. And so I'm like, I can't go there. And I try to go to the other lane. And then like the enemy 4 is like open to like TP and respond to that because there's like no one even farming the wave, even though there's 5 heroes like stopping my play. and like my guy's just jungling. That's like one of the
Yeah.
most tilting things is I die to 5 heroes, or I fight 5 heroes and like live with a remnant, and I like pan my camera to like my level 3 PA like hitting up the jungle. Like,
It is.
what the fuck are you doing?
Because I feel like a big part of why I'm able to like stay in my lanes is just because I'm a better laner now than I was a few years ago. But I mean, I can. So it is more impactful to stay in your lane as a carry because you're like farming the creeps there and you're denying the enemies that tower. But so I can talk a little bit about my carry journey here. So a few years ago, when I was a lot worse than I am now, I started out, I would stay in my lane too long, right? And I would die. Like I'd get ganked or like the Mars would hit 6 and kill me. And then I learned the general advice of if you're going to die, like just leave your lane because leaving your lane is better than dying, which it is. If you're going to die for sure, you should leave your lane. Like dying on carry is just terrible. But then I was leaving my lane too much, right? And what that caused is like the issue that Pyne is describing right now. And it's just like not impactful. Whereas
it like ruins the map for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. Because it makes it harder to play. And now I have a nice balance where like if it gets, because before when it would get like a little bit uncomfortable, if I had like a small chance of dying, I would give these 6k bots too much respect. Okay, and I'd be like, oh, I'm out, because if they synergize all their spells at the perfect time, like they can kill me, like they can.
And my TP, and my team doesn't TP.
Yeah, and my team doesn't TP. No, exactly. But now it's like I'm a little bit more loose with it. You know, I just like position myself a little bit away from them. I'm like maybe a Wind Ranger with a Wind Run.
You tell your team like, yo, TP if they dive.
I tell my team they might dive TP, and that it makes me a lot.
It's way easier to play
with.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas. Like
it's impact as a carry. This is how you impact as a position. This is a lot of impact. If you just go Yongle for 30 minutes, you're
not even in the game, man.
You're doing nothing.
Because this also relates to like just shoving waves and stuff. Like, let's say the same situation happens where I make a play on the enemy's safe lane and they TP like their 4 or like maybe their level 6 offlaner TPs and like arena spears me. And, like you get to shove like 2 waves and like crash the wave on their tower, and you're feeling fucking fantastic. Right? But if you're in the hot tub, I fight 5 heroes and you're hitting a small satyr. Cha-ching! I got 12 gold. Dude, are you serious with this shit? I had to confront this idea when I was learning Storm Spirit. This was a while back, but I was learning Storm Spirit and I was watching a bunch of Makoto replays with my boy Cookie, and we were discussing this. And because on Storm, it's like you use a lot of mana to farm and a lot of mana to fight. And if I'm just Yongling my camps, there's no way I can participate in the game. And also, like, and on the contrary, if I want to gank and I, like, run to a lane, but then the gank doesn't work out, the amount of efficiency that's lost there is, like, devastating, right? Because he farms so fast. So what's the solution? You farm to where you want to play. Like, let's say I want to gank their safe lane. Just walk through their jungle and like take the bounty rune and like hit up the medium camp and then like go to their safe lane and like hit up the small camp while you're like looking at the lane. And then if it's good, you gank. And if not, it's like I farmed a bunch of camps and I like go back mid and it's chill.
It's fine.
Yeah. But like if I go farm the hot tub, if it's good, then I'm not there. So I can't gank.
Yeah. Another interesting like reality of that play is a lot of the time when you farm like 2 fights, it's going to be a little bit less efficient than if you like, I mean, this doesn't like apply to Storm super well, but other heroes, than if you were to like farm your own Ancients, right?
Sure.
But there's you want to like hedge the chance that it's going to work out and that you're going to get a good play. Like, let's say you make that rotation toward the enemy team and you get like 2 kills out of it, like 60 to 70% of the time. You should make that play every time. Even if you don't do it, it's still a good play.
Yeah. You didn't sacrifice that much if it doesn't work out. And there's a good chance that you got a lot.
Yeah. Another negative that I think we should talk about of jungling like really safe camps, like if you're mid, for example, and you have a bad lane and then you like go farm your Ancients, okay, you're denying your Ancients from your carry or like your offlaner who wants to farm it. So not only are you having no impact in the game, but you're having a negative impact because you're taking away safe farm from other heroes on your team who want it. So if you're taking that, like you better really need it, and you better like really have a plan at how you're going to scale because you're making it harder for your team to play. Yeah,
and another thing, I was just watching Riyadh's on today. I was just watching Watson, rank one Watson.
Is he still rank 1?
Yeah, I don't think so anymore. Mars rank 1, but he was playing Ursa, and this was a sick play because like the enemy team like 3-man smoked connected to it was the 2 supports in the mid smoked connected to their offlaner, and he's in the hot tub. Okay, he's in the hot tub hitting it up.
Watson in the hot tub. Never.
It's like, well done though, because he's not just in the hot tub because like I'm like slightly uncomfortable with like the Mars on my screen or whatever. He's in the hot tub because there's 3 guys in smoke. Now.
It's
right
the enemy
now.
3 guys smoking.
Yes.
Him. Oh yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
There's 3 guys coming for his ass right now. Okay, and his ass is in the hot tub instead of like at his tower. And this is a really nice move by Watson, where then a fight breaks out mid on like the enemy, or like sorry, it was the carry top and the enemy offlaner was defending mid, and they start on the enemy mid and TPs come down on the tower, and Watson kind of doesn't want to be top because there's a chance that like he still gets owned. He's like Ursa, and there's like a CK there and like possibility of supports behind. So he TPs mid, and he like gets a double kill and then farms the wave and all that stuff. And also like he's like phase boots Ursa, like he's not the most useless. He's not like in a smoke ganking, as we were saying, like. But he's like putting himself in proximity of where his teammates want to play, and his lane was compromised in that moment.
Yeah. Another reason why that's good to reiterate is because he doesn't want to be top. So he like TPs to the skirmish. If it works out, great. But even if it didn't work out, like, it's still a good TP because he doesn't want to be top on the map.
Was hitting up the fucking hot tub medium camp.
That's
like, he wasn't getting shit.
That's nightmare.
Right? So it's like TP mid for a chance to get a kill, and then you like run your ass top after, right?
And so most of the time, honestly, most of the time, if you make these TPs, you're going to get kills. Yeah. So I had a really good play where I was using these ideas, and it really felt perfect because I was having a good game on Ursa, and I saw a skirmish. I'm farming like my ancients, right? And I saw a skirmish brewing mid in the Radiant Triangle. Okay, so we're dire, and it was happening in the Radiant Triangle. So I can't really TP there. Like I could TP to the T2 and like sprint there, but that just doesn't feel that good because it wasn't like actually happening. Like I just see something brewing. Like the enemy heroes contact my heroes.
It's a fucking scrap.
And I was really close. It was a scrap, and it was like. They're like playing kind of cat and mouse with each other. Nobody's like initiating. And I was really close to my blink, so I didn't have it yet. So what I chose to do is I chose to farm toward it, and I actually sacrificed some ancients. So instead of hitting my ancients, I went to the Radiant jungle, and I farmed from the Radiant bottom lane to the Radiant triangle. And I got my blink at a really nice time where I had it on the courier, and I'm like farming there. And the skirmish happened all like where I'm farming there, but like people were low on the enemy team. So it worked out. So right when I got my blink off my courier, like 15 minutes, I'm having a good Ursa game. There's a very low like Clinks and Mirana from the skirmish. So I blink on them and get a double kill on them like 2 seconds after I get blink for my courier. And that was not luck. That was a product of me saying, okay, I'm pretty strong, but I don't want to like TP into this skirmish without my blink. So I'm just going to farm toward there. My blink gets to me off my courier. Boom, double kill on the enemy carry.
Yeah, there's a chance you collect some kills and you keep yourself in a location.
Good play. And yes, like 60% of the time, I don't get anything from that play, and it would have been more efficient to farm my ancients. No, sorry, like I think like 40% of the time I wouldn't get anything. But that play is worth making 100% of the time because like the chance that it happened, like me getting that double kill is massive. So good for me. Yeah, it's massive.
It's like game ending. The enemy Clinks is the carry, by the way. He just gets blasted by Ursa like at 15 minutes by the blink.
Yeah.
I just think, and this is gonna, maybe people won't like this, but like the thing with jungling is that a lot of people like jungle and they play for this like giga late game timing where they have like 5 slots that carries the game solo. And I think it's good to be conscious of those 5 slots and what you can do to carry the game solo. And this applies more at high Mars because like maybe at low Mars you get to farm your 5 slots and carry the game solo, but like it's just not kosher. It's not chill. For you to jungle for your 5 slots for 50 minutes, your team's going to get obliterated, right? And like this doesn't mean, oh, you need to like go in and fight 5 heroes and feed, but it's just not acceptable for you to just do nothing, shove no waves, not be in any fights with your spells, etc. for like 50 minutes straight. It's just not gonna fly when people get better. It doesn't mean you have to like fucking carry or like do some crazy bullshit, but like it could be as simple as like I crone the enemy lion and get a kill. Nice, man. Yeah. Like that's huge. You're accelerating with kills. Kills are big.
Also, in 2024 in high MMR, it's like not enough to just jungle for your game either. Like you're gonna be behind.
You're gonna be behind.
Kills matter a lot. That's also something I'm realizing now in my carry journey is that kills are just OP still.
Yeah, the enemy carry is gonna be gold, like Ursa, and he's gonna be like taken off, and you're just like jungling on Void, and like you're gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna have enough gold, man. It's not acceptable.
Something I've been thinking about on the mental front of Dota is for a while I've had a weird relationship with like queuing ranked, where when I like basically lost any game, I would get like really discouraged.
Oh, this is
Even
good
though I had a like 60 to 70% win rate, right? I thought like that wasn't good enough, and I thought like I'd need to win more. But I don't know, if you just do the math and you have that win rate and you queue, like you're gonna climb. And then I heard through the grapevine that, or I found out somehow that Speed Dota had, when he's climbing through 6K, his win rate was like 55%, right? And if he plays in 6K
he's a great
now,
player.
Yeah, he's like a
player.
12K player, like really good.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the world in my opinion. And that just gave me perspective on like to climb, especially in higher MMRs, you just need volume. Oh, you're not. I thought you were base halting, but you're like focusing.
No. I'm focusing my camera.
Yeah,
not base halting.
You need volume. It's not realistic to win, 80 to 90 to 100% of your games. Like even the best people. I mean, I think if Speed played in 6K now, he would probably win like 70 to 90. It wouldn't be 100. But when you're climbing, like you're also part of the climbing journey is improving.
Is learning. Yeah.
And if you consistently have over a 50% win rate, that's like all it takes. And so that stat, like hearing Speed's win rate just made me more okay with losing ranked games. Whereas before, I'd play for like 3 days and I'd like be like 7-3 or something, but I would have like lost those 3 games in a row and I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm so bad, like I'm not gonna play for like 3 days now. I need to like get better. But in reality, it's just like part of the process.
Yeah, and holding yourself to that standard just isn't a healthy relationship with your MMR. It's not a really healthy relationship with Dota because like ego/shame just gets in the way of improvement in general in life. So you can apply this to stuff other than Dota, but like the way to improve is to make mistakes, not to like reference the fucking Aghanim's voice line here for the life advice. But it's the one where it's like improving. You don't improve until you make mistakes, which is true.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely true. I had my mini profile for a while because it's true. And so to be ashamed of making mistakes, and the people, let me tell you, a lot of reason why people are like ashamed as well is that you'll make a mistake and you're like animal who's like 0 in 30,000 will like be like, dude, you didn't do this. And like, let me tell you,
you'll be like 13-1 or something.
And you're like, oh, like
you'll have one death.
My bad. And it's like that guy is also like ashamed of making mistakes, insecure in his skill, and that's why he's 0 and 13 in your game and not doing anything, is because he lets his ego and shame get in the way of his improvement. But making a mistake, and more importantly, making a mistake and recognizing the remedy, is actually a very good thing and also cool. If you make a mistake and you don't know how to fix it, it's like that's kind of nightmare. But if you make a mistake,
you can figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, and you can figure it out. It's all good. Like watch the
Crabby
replay.
Dota in the comment section.
Exactly. And then you probably just hit 10K. But to be afraid of making mistakes is to be afraid of the game, is to be afraid of improving, and at that point, like, you're fucking cooked. That's all I got on that.
Any final thoughts for the fans?
Nope. Take care, guys. Comment.
Yes, comment if you have any thoughts. We love the comments. See you, some of you in the pubs, some of you in the comments. Yeah, we won't be seeing you lurkers, but you'll be seeing us.
I'm gonna stomp you guys. Guy who said who I fed. I'm gonna stomp you. Take care.
Take care. Peace.